You're watching the History Fella channel, and in this video we're looking at the Battle of Barbourville. The Battle of Barbourville was one of the early engagements of the American Civil War. It took place on September the 19th, 1861, in Knox County, Kentucky, during the campaign known as the Kentucky Confederate Offensive. The battle is considered the first Confederate victory in the Commonwealth, and threw a scare into Federal commanders, who rushed troops to central Kentucky to try to repel the invasion, which was finally stopped at the Battle of Camp Wildcat in October. On April 15th, 1861, the day after the U.S. Army surrendered Fort Sumter to the Confederates, President Abraham Lincoln called upon the states remaining in the Union to provide volunteers to suppress the insurrection in the 7 states, which had seceded from the Union by that date. Pro-Confederate Kentucky Governor Barbourville Magoffin refused to send troops, but since the majority of the members of the Kentucky General Assembly were pro-Union, Lincoln's call for volunteers did not prompt the state to secede. On May the 16th, the Kentucky Legislative Committee recommended that the state remain neutral in the conflict, and Governor Magoffin proclaimed the state's neutrality on May the 20th. In elections on August the 5th, 1861, Kentucky voters returned a veto-proof majority of pro-Union members to the Kentucky House of Representatives and Kentucky Senate. On August the 6th, 1861, Camp Dick Robinson, a Union camp, was established near Lexington, Kentucky. On September the 2nd, 1861, the Kentucky General Assembly raised the U.S. flag over the Kentucky state capitol at Frankfort, Kentucky. On September the 3rd, 1861, Confederate Major General Leonidas Polk ordered Brigadier General Gideon Pillow to seize Columbus, Kentucky on the Mississippi River before Union forces could do so. This ended Kentucky's neutrality and led to Union Brigadier General Ulysses S. Grant's seizure of Paddock, Kentucky on September the 6th, 1861, and other military movements and actions by both Union and Confederate armies in Kentucky soon afterwards. Brigadier General Felix Zollicoffer's Confederates had moved from Tennessee to push through the Cumberland Gap into central Kentucky in an effort to gain control of the important border state. On September the 14th, 1861, 10 days after his 5,500-man force left their base, Zollicoffer occupied the Cumberland Gap and took position at the Cumberland Fort. This was near present-day Pineville, Kentucky, and this was to counter Union activity in the area. For much of the summer, Union sympathizers had been organizing and training recruits from Kentucky and eastern Tennessee at Camp Andrew Johnson near Barbourville, Kentucky. Zollicoffer was determined to seize his camp and eliminate the threat to the Confederate position. He also wanted to relieve the pressure on the army of Albert S. Johnston and divert Union troops away from Johnston's command. In a heavy morning fog on September the 19th, 1861, Zollicoffer sent forward 800 men under Colonel Joel A. Battle. Camp Andrew Johnson had largely been vacated, with the recruits moved to nearby Camp Dick Robinson, where several thousand Federal troops were gathered under the command of Brigadier General George H. Thomas. As Battle's men approached the Camp Johnson, they encountered a force of 300 pro-Union Home Guards under Captain Isaac J. Black, who had hastily removed the planking from the bridge to prevent the Confederates from crossing it. Sharp skirmishing broke out, but Battle's superior numbers prevailed and Zollicoffer won a victory. His men seized the camp, destroyed the buildings, and captured the arms and equipment left behind by the retreating recruits. Black reported his casualties as 1 man killed, 1 wounded, and 13 captured. Fighting in the open, the attacking Confederates had lost 7 men killed in the encounter. Although Zollicoffer briefly withdrew to his camp at Cumberland Gap, he sent a detachment of his men to drive off another Union Home Guard force at the camp at Laurel Bridge in Laurel County, Kentucky, soon after the Battle of Barbourville. On September the 28th, another detachment seized 200 barrels of salt and destroyed the Goose Creek Salt Works in Clay County, Kentucky. In response to Zollicoffer's actions, Union Brigadier General Thomas sent troops under Colonel Theophilus T. Garrard to set up Camp Wildcat at Rockcastle's Hills near London, Kentucky. At Wildcat Mountain, 30 miles north of the salt works, to secure the ford on the Rockcastle River and obstruct the wilderness road passing through the area. This set the stage for the Battle of Camp Wildcat on October the 21st, 1861, after Zollicoffer returned to the offensive on October the 16th. If you found the information in this video informative, please feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel.